Welcome back to the channel. Got something a little different for you this week. About 2 months ago, I was asked to speak at the SoCal PGA on behalf of Clipped. As you know, Clipped is a data company that I work with that captures data but directly helps you with your game. In this seminar, I'm speaking to some of the best coaches in Southern California. The hosts include Butch Harmon, Me and My Golf, Parker McLachlin. So to be involved in this obviously was a privilege, but to capture the attention of those in the industry and let them recognize that this product is something that they can use to help their students, or of course you in your game, was something that we felt we should get and share with yourselves. Be sure to get down into the description if you want to know more about the Southern California PGA section, and of course Clipped. This is going to be a two-part upload as we do something a little different here coming into the holiday period. So learn more, get after it. There's some great stories and there's also some great data and how the best players in the world use it to help their game. Hope you enjoy this one. Dive in the comments as always.
Next up we have Troh.
I can talk about the European Tour in the sense that when you compare it to the PGA Tour, the standard isn't quite the same. I've worked on both. I've worked in Japan, I've worked in Australia, I've worked in Korea. I've been everywhere when it comes to golf clubs. Always coming back to data, always coming back to the player, always reviewing it, and you end up with a player that is Aaron Rai. And I think that comes from the credit of certainly Piers and Andy, constant evaluation of what they're doing, constant evaluation when it comes to looking at YouTube and making that business what it is today. So excellent to hear them. I think the second point that I have to raise, Piers and Andy from the UK, I'm from the UK. I look at the images around me for TaylorMade, a company I've been so close to for so long. Obviously, it's created powerful images like this one, which I hit on the guys from Clip to make sure goes in there, just to show the players that here I'm in a media setting with them, but I've had the privilege of working with to this point. And then you look at British PGA, what they do, where you get a bag of crisps and a cold cup of tea. I think what the SoCal PGA has put on for you guys, it looks like a scene out the Titanic, but it's pretty impressive. So hopefully everyone's going to enjoy the next day and a half or the week you've got ahead of you with all of the instructors. So what is Clipped and how can it help you? My journey through golf, as you saw with that initial image, has been working with the best players in the game. And I'm going to reveal here something that we did at TaylorMade with amazing golfers, amazing players. Patrick Reed, a few years ago, was in TaylorMade. I'm probably going back to, is this working? You good? Okay, it doesn't sound good on my end. As long as it sounds good on your end, that's all that matters. So Patrick Reed at TaylorMade a few years ago came to see us probably late 2017, 2018. And he was obviously on the PGA Tour at the time, big Ryder Cup player, fantastic player. And some of the details that we looked at in the boardroom there at TaylorMade, when we went to talking about his game and how we can improve him, the way it doesn't work in the sense that you offer these players a contract, they look at the money and off they go. I think as Piers and Andy alluded to, there has to be things that work on both sides. And this was my first introduction, really, with Patrick and other players as to how deep you could take ShotLink and the data. And there was a presentation put together around Patrick's golf clubs, and it revealed that at a stretch of tournaments with his 8-iron on a front left flag, he was not as efficient as he was with every other iron in his bag. So you obviously get to think about that. Patrick's in the room. He has his coach in the room with him. And it was a huge moment for me because Patrick's reputation obviously is he's fantastic, but on the outside, you're not sure how hard he's actually working at his game. But then when you get into how serious he is and how accountable he holds his team, all based around stats, you realize that the guy is putting in so much attention to detail. Again, best players in the world. It might be things that you overlook as from the outside looking in, but you realize it's everything. So Reed realizes he's hitting 8-irons and he's missing on front left flags. He's short-siding himself more often than not. With that, we immediately went down to the PGA Tour department at TaylorMade. We loft and lied the golf clubs, and we were looking at stats that were only in the last month. And he found out that 8-iron was off on the lie angle versus the rest of the set. From that point on, for the rest of the day, we had Patrick's ear like you wouldn't believe. And we were able then, and I know we talked a little bit earlier with the opening scene about strategy for TaylorMade, but we were able to talk to him on a level of trust that was far deeper than we'd had when he walked into Carlsbad, California that morning. And I know that we tried for a long time to figure out the financials of that deal and how it would look from a sports marketing point of view, but the bottom line is that data had got us to that point. Now, there was a period of time, Matt Fitzpatrick, working out with him prior to winning the US Open over in China when they played the World Golf Championship there at Shenzhen. I went to him with stats. I went to him with data, talking about your driving, talking about what he was playing, talking about what we could give him as a player to improve him. It resonated with the player. Then you fast forward again, or put it into maybe something that might be closer to us, closer to home that we can relate to. Bunker play, different sand conditions, bounce. Bounce is a big topic. Everyone obviously knows about it. We all teach about it on a day-to-day basis. But when you travel the world playing tournament golf, different bounce makes a difference. Obviously based on sand conditions and turf conditions, release points, etc., etc. Stats I've used countless times as we go with the American guys over to the Open Championship to talk about why you need to change the bounce on your wedges, why you need to play a certain size of sole. And then obviously for me, I was able to lean on players that are maybe the best bunker players in the world to then impact other players. Data, conversations, getting you to this point. So whether you're working with touring pros, whether you're working with young juniors, whether you're working now, and a clip work very closely with this, we're going to get into it, but NCAA athletes or aspiring college players, if you are serious about your game, clipped 100% is going to be the way to go. And the reason I've had this now long-term relationship with clipped is not because I can't use ShotLink. It simply is because this data allows me to get as close to what Patrick Reed had for my game. And I still love to play golf. I still enjoy golf as much as the next person next to you guys out there. I want to improve. I want to be on this journey. I want to learn, as everyone does who's in this room. And clipped is your best way for you to learn about your game, but also those that you have a chance to interact and connect with. Now, maybe diving all about here, but much as the advice that Piers and Andy gave me, and I'm telling you, if you've got good questions for them, they will answer them in abundance. And their journey is inspiring even to anyone out there who's not interested in social media. But the point is, with clipped, and it's not deep in these slides, so you must understand what this is, you can create a network of your members, of your clients, that will literally flag up when you need to address them, work with them, maybe touch on a new driver, a new fairway wood, which is going to be music to TaylorMade's ears, or whatever OEM you are working with. If it's not TaylorMade, then there's something up with you. But it's going to get you to a point where if there's an area of one of your individual's games that isn't up to speed or is dropping, you are then able as a pro to get in there and flag them up, connect with them through your own networking clipped and be, hey, Mrs. Smith, your chipping isn't working for you. Let's look at some new wedges. Let's look at a chipping lesson. Let's go from there. Hope you enjoyed that. We're going to be back with a second part to this. There's a lot of information to get into one YouTube video, so be sure to come back here for the next upload. We upload twice a week on this channel. There's a lot more information and jam-packed details as to why you need to get into this coming up in our next upload. Follow along and comment with any questions.